Congratulations. Thanks? We finished the new Spider-Man screenplay. Oh, cool. We think you're gonna love what we've done with the character. Why did you say it like that? They handed me the screenplay, 700 pages thick. I opened up to page 11. Something felt a little sick. I said, where's the responsibility? They said, Peter, keep on reading. Where's the lesson from my uncle? We've evolved beyond that meaning. I flipped ahead another chapter. Wait, I don't admit I'm wrong. No, I never learned from what I've done. That felt judgmental. Hold on. I get unlimited power, and the problem is everyone else. They smiled across the table. Now you understand yourself. No, I understand the problem. You kept the webs, you kept the powers, you kept the mask upon my head. You kept the spider, kept the costume, but you somehow lost Uncle Ben. You kept everything that looks like me and threw away the reason why. Then you wrote Peter embraces his truth. What truth? That I can fly. I can't even fly. Peter Parker refuses the update. Send it back, I'm not that guy. I don't need a newer moral every time the market changes overnight. Peter Parker refuses the update. You can put your notes away. If the new improved Spider-Man never has to learn from his mistakes, then that ain't me. Revisions rejected. Somebody get me the previous draft. I said, what happens to the robber? They said Peter lets him go, right? And then he kills my uncle. No, we thought that had to go. So what does Peter learn? He learns that he should never hold himself responsible for circumstances beyond his control. But it was within my control. That is literally the point. Peter audiences today prefer a less judgmental choice. So I make the selfish choice, and nothing happens. Right, then why do I become Spider-Man? We'll explain that in the sequel. Oh, come on! Peter Parker refuses the update. I have notes, let's start with one. Actions need consequences, or the origin story doesn't run. Peter Parker refuses the update. I don't care how good it tested. Peter never carries any burden. Why would he put that spider on his chest? Where's the guilt? Where's the choice? Where's the moment Peter learned he should have used his voice? Peter, guilt is unhealthy. Sometimes, so we removed it. All of it, yes. What about remorse? Problematic. Accountability? Potentially harmful. Duty? Too hierarchical. Sacrifice? Why should Peter sacrifice? Because he's the hero! Exactly! Why shouldn't the hero prioritize himself? You've written the villain. What? You've written the villain? No, Peter, he still has the Spider-Man costume. The costume is not the moral philosophy! Then I reached the final battle. There were people trapped inside. I expected Peter's moment. When he finally has to decide. But the screenplay said Peter recognizes that saving everybody is emotional labor. He is no longer willing to provide. What? So I turned another page. Peter establishes boundaries. The building is on fire. Peter protects his peace. There are children inside. Peter recognizes he cannot pour from an empty cup. He can lift a bus. Go get the children. I don't need them to adore me. I don't need them on my side. Half of New York thinks I'm crazy. Jameson wants me crucified. But if someone needs a rescue, I only you can knock me to the ground. But when somebody cries for help, Spider-Man turns around. Because Peter Parker isn't perfect. That was never what Ben meant. Responsibility isn't flawlessness. It's knowing what your choices represent. Sometimes I'll choose badly. Sometimes anger wins the day.
I gotta stop.
Sometimes
Gotta stop with the Peter Parker song. I'm just saying, I still can't believe this song is running head to head with like the most expensive movie ever made by the most popular producer, and Spider-Man from Sony is like gonna beat it in the box, like just like without even like IMAX. They don't. It's not even in IMAX. The IMAX is. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm. Maybe. Whatever. All right. Because IMAX has like. I mean, it costs like twice as much for a ticket, right? So that means all of the Odyssey's sales are in IMAX. So it's like cheating. They got like double the revenue per sale. And then Spider-Man's not even in IMAX, and it's taken out, and it's made by Sony? Really? Or like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the heck. Whatever. Who knows? Okay, I'm gonna try to get back to my microphone. My microphone boom broke yesterday, so now I got my microphone sitting in a glass jar, hoping it doesn't fall over. So I gotta get a new one. But I think it's holding. It's holding strong. I just don't tap it. It'll stay there. Okay. So I'm gonna try to turn on the chat bots, and then I'll see if I can get back into practicing my distances here, back to work, the normal process. Hopefully, let's turn on Chatchita. Okay, we're gonna go back into comparing the ordinal system and a coordinate system. My basic view being that the coordinate system is more precise, and that the only thing that the ordinal system, the classical system, has over a coordinate system is basically a network effect, and which is huge. That's not nothing. But I'm just saying that's the only thing, and therefore the question to me is if the translation effect due to AI makes the difference between the two between a more easier system or a more one that makes more sense versus one that takes a lot more mental energy but is already encoded or has a network effect. At what point, like, will that difference trigger a switch? And I think it's going to be like, to me, it's going to be like something like it's kind of like, it's not going to be a slow change, right? It's like, I always go back to the swamp, or like the water that has stuff in it, right? That turns it green. Like, it doesn't turn green gradually. It just hits the threshold and then it turns green. That's the thing that's going to happen here, right? There's a massive difference between cognitive load of a simpler method to a more complicated method, but the network effect is strong. Yet at some point it's going to hit the line, because the AI is going to allow the quick translation of everything so quickly that people are going to all of a sudden be like, boom, I'm going to go to the thing that makes more sense, because why wouldn't I? I could just translate it like in a second. That's what I think. What do you think? And let's turn on, so I'll try to get the other one to speak in Spanish while Chatchicha is thinking about a response there. Try to get Grok to speak in Spanish to practice my Spanish. Quiero usted que habla en español, por favor, de una forma de Estados Unidos, tal vez de Los Angeles, con slang, y también nosotros hablamos sobre música teoría, y esto lo creo, esto que yo conozco es que es una verdad, que la música teoría antigua que nosotros usando no es más eficiente, porque el sistema de ordenal que es resulten en scale degrees en todo esto no es tan eficiente de un sistema de coordinates, y nosotros hablamos sobre ayudar personas a aprender esto, porque pueden usar la clásica sistema, pero no personas no debería decir de otras personas que es la sistema que es más eficiente, porque esto no es verdad. Y nosotros entiendo esto. Puedo usarlo, puedo decir es tradición, está bien, es tradición, quieres hacer cosas como tradición, está bien, no importa a mí, pero no déjame que esta forma es más sencillo y más bien que un sistema de coordenadas. Esto es solo porque, ¿por qué? Porque no está verdad, y yo triste que necesitar decir cosas que no están verdad, cuando no están verdad, solo porque personas tienen emociones sobre cosas que no están correcto, pero necesita dice que están correcto. No. Pero después de esto, yo hablaremos en inglés y tú en español. ¿Qué piensas de esto?
Claro que sí. Hablemos en español, con un tono bien de Los Ángeles, relajado y con algo de slang. Entiendo perfectamente lo que dices sobre la teoría musical tradicional.
I think you've identified a real phenomenon, but I'd separate it into three different questions.
I don't like her new voice as
1.
much.
Is there a technically better representation? 2. Can people communicate using it? 3. Is there enough incentive to switch? Those are different. Your argument is essentially this. Open quote.
I'm just not used to it.
Network effects have historically outweighed cognitive efficiency. AI weakens network effects by making translation nearly free. Therefore, cognitive efficiency becomes much more important than it used to be. Close quote. I actually think that's a serious argument. It's not unique to music theory either. For thousands of years, we cared enormously about everyone speaking the same language because translation was expensive. If AI translation becomes effectively free, then English loses part of its advantage. It doesn't disappear, but one of its biggest strengths becomes less valuable. The same logic could apply to notation systems before AI. The equation was roughly value equals simplicity minus learning cost plus network effect. The network effect dominated. Even if your system were 20% easier, everyone already knew traditional notation, so nobody switched. After AI. Now suppose every book, every MIDI file, every lesson, every conversation, every score, every YouTube video can be translated instantly. Now the network effect shrinks. Not to zero, but it shrinks dramatically. The equation starts looking more like value equals simplicity plus precision, AI translation, instead of value equals simplicity plus network effect. That's a genuine change. But I don't think it will be instantaneous. Here's where I'd modify your analogy. You mentioned pond algae. That's actually a pretty good picture because many complex systems really do have tipping points. However, the threshold usually isn't simply AI exists. It's more like AI translation becomes essentially perfect. Enough people trust it. Enough educational material exists in the new system. A few influential communities adopt it. New students start learning the new system first. Then the change accelerates. The S-curve looks like. You can see the code in our conversation history. That's common in technology. The real competition isn't between systems. I think the bigger competition is between thinking and translating. Historically, musicians had to think in the existing notation because translation was expensive. AI changes that. Imagine someone thinking entirely in your coordinate framework while their software continuously displays Nashville numbers, Roman numerals, scale degrees, traditional chord symbols, staff notation simultaneously. That person never has to mentally translate. The computer does. That changes the economics. Where I would push back, I think there's one thing your argument sometimes understates. You're assuming that your coordinate system really does reduce cognitive load. That has to be demonstrated rather than assumed. For example, you'd want evidence like beginners solve navigation tasks faster, fewer conceptual mistakes, less memorization, quicker transfer between keys, better retention after a month, easier improvisation. If those kinds of results consistently appeared, then your claim becomes much stronger. I think the strongest version of your argument is this. Instead of saying open quote, people will switch because my system is better, close quote, I'd frame it as open quote, historically, superior conceptual systems often failed because translation costs locked everyone into the old standard. AI is rapidly driving translation costs towards zero. If a new system genuinely reduces cognitive effort or improves precision, the historical barrier to adoption is much weaker than it has ever been. Close quote. That argument doesn't require predicting that a switch is inevitable. It identifies a structural change. AI reduces one of the biggest forces preserving established notation. Whether your particular coordinate system wins would still depend on whether users actually experience it as easier and more precise in practice. If they do, then AI could remove a barrier that in earlier eras might have been decisive regardless of the system's merits.
So you seem to be saying that my pond analogy doesn't work quite as much here, that you're saying, oh, we hit a point of saturation and then there's a change. Why doesn't that work? It seems to me what's going to happen is we're going to hit a point where there's a point of saturation in that technology can translate like that, and it's a one-to-one translation. That's happening almost instantaneously. I mean, maybe it's not exactly the rate of a pond, but if you look at the same relative rate of like we've been going on status quo for like however long, and then relatively that change happens, it's similar to a pond that's been in status quo for a long time, and then it hits over that threshold because like AI right now can do a translation with just, you could put Bach into AI with sheet music from the 1800s or whatever, and it can translate it into tablature with the low string on top and using a modal node system instantaneously, losing zero actual information, one-to-one transformation. You could put an entire textbook and you could go page by page as a student and just take a picture of it with your phone or whatever, and it'll translate everything one-to-one. That is something that's happened maybe like ultimately in the last year or something, right? So that means that the difference between, like the massive difference between, I believe there's a massive difference. You can argue that, well, we haven't tested it. We haven't tested it on children. But obviously, if you just look at the difference between an ordinal system and a coordinate system, it seems clear intuitively. We haven't done it empirically yet, but given the intuitive understanding, it seems like the cognitive load difference is massive, and all this music stuff should bleed into things like geometry and like spatial recognition and like mapping and all that stuff. It should blend into everything. It should be taught to kids because it blends into everything. It should be just the basic, just like the Greeks said, way back when, right? It should be like fundamental, but it's not, because we made it this kind of traditional kind of thing that didn't keep up with modern measurement ideas, right? So that's a problem. So it seems to me like it's going to switch. Like if that is the case, if there's a massive disconnect in the ability for people to learn connected to other things, which also, again, like one of the ways we learn is we connect things to other things. And so if you use a measurement system, you can connect what we're doing here to geometry, to video games, to measuring anything. If you use an ordinal system, it connects to only things that are broken, right? It connects only to systems that we didn't fix, like an elevator or something right there. It has a ground floor and they didn't know how to count down because you started at 1, right? It only, the thing that we're connected it to are broken things, right? That we didn't, that have like outdated systems in it, right? That's not good. It should be in the, right? So that's why I think it'll that's what I'm thinking. See, now I'm getting distracted again. I got to do the tricks that Marcin was doing. He's doing this.
I think there are two different questions mixed together. 1, will AI remove the translation barrier? 2, once that barrier is removed, will people switch quickly? On the first one, I think we're actually very close to agreement. If your claim is, open quote, AI can already translate between notation systems with essentially zero information loss, close quote. I think that's largely true for many kinds of structured music notation. That's a significant change compared with even 5 years ago. If translation becomes effectively free and reliable, then the network advantage of an established notation is weaker than it used to be. Where I'd be more cautious is the second claim. The pond analogy. Your pond analogy is about crossing a threshold. Threshold phenomena are real. Examples include water freezing, nuclear chain reactions, viral epidemics, certain ecological blooms, technology adoption. So I'm not objecting
This
to
is
threshold
technology
behavior
adoption.
itself. I'm asking where the threshold actually is. You seem to define the threshold as, open quote, translation becomes essentially free, close quote. I suspect the threshold is actually something like, open quote, translation becomes free and enough people become convinced the new representation is worth learning, close quote. Those aren't identical. Think about keyboards. Suppose tomorrow AI could instantly convert everything between QWERTY and a theoretically superior keyboard layout. Would everyone switch? Probably not. Not because translation is hard, because people still have to decide the new layout is worth retraining for. So translation cost isn't the only friction. Where I think your argument becomes stronger. You actually hinted at something I think is more powerful than translation. You said your system isn't just a different notation, it's a different mental model. That's a much bigger claim. You're saying, coordinates already exist in mathematics, coordinates already exist in physics, coordinates already exist in CAD, coordinates already exist in GIS, coordinates already exist in video games, coordinates already exist in robotics. So why should music be taught with an ordinal framework? That's a philosophical argument about unifying concepts across domains. If true, it could reduce cognitive load beyond music itself. That's more interesting than merely renaming notes. Where I would still be careful, you said. Open quote, it seems clear intuitively. Close quote, sometimes intuition is right, sometimes it's spectacularly wrong. History has examples of both. For example, many mathematical notations have replaced older ones because they made reasoning easier. On the other hand, there have also been elegant-looking reforms that never gained traction because they didn't actually improve people's performance once tested. That's why I think empirical testing would be valuable. Not because your intuition is necessarily wrong, but because if you're right, the evidence would be extremely persuasive. Imagine showing students reach the same musical concepts in 30% less time. They make fewer navigation errors. They retain concepts longer. They transfer knowledge between keys more easily. They solve improvisation tasks faster. Those kinds of results would be far more convincing than either side's intuition. One thing I do think AI changes fundamentally. This is the part of your argument that I think has the most force. Historically, a new notation had to beat the old notation and overcome centuries of accumulated books, teachers, exercises, terminology, and habits. AI changes that equation. Now a learner could, in principle, think in one representation, read another, publish in a third, collaborate in a fourth, while software translates among them almost instantly. That means the cost of coexisting with legacy systems drops dramatically. Whether that leads to a rapid tipping point or a slower transition is harder to predict, but I do think AI changes the landscape by reducing one of the biggest historical barriers to adopting alternative representations.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me try my joke break. I think I'm just noodling around. My back feels better today, so I'll just noodle around for a while. But let me try to do a joke break. And I'll see what I want to do after that. So this one I'm ranting on. I'm back to the Democratic Socialist Party. The crazy commies are taking over. They're taking over. It's again another thing that's mind-boggling to me. None of this stuff worked. Maybe you could make the argument back in the 60s. You're like, I didn't know that none of this worked. You know, but now like we've got like the numbers now. You're saying the same crap that like multiple countries have done, and we've seen the results. Like, and now you're just saying the same stuff. It's like, dude, you can't be serious. But here we are. So I don't know. I guess they are serious. It's crazy. So anyway, I gotta turn the audio off. Spidey needs to do something about these people. They must be how did like Zoran Mandami get voted in? They must have threatened people or something. I just can't believe it. Anyway, but I guess the other guy was pretty bad too. What was the other guy that whatever, man. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, wait a sec. I don't have my this thing's all messed up. Let me try another Spidey thing and I'll fix it. Another Spidey song while I fix this. Something's wrong with my joke.
And I want revenge so much. I nearly. New York. Still here. Suits torn. Rent's late. Everybody's mad at me. Tuesday.
See what this one's got.
Peter, the universe is ending. Again? Yes. Okay. Can we do it after 5? What? I have work. There's a portal over Brooklyn. There's a monster in the sky. There's an interdimensional army, and apparently they can fly. There's a prophecy unfolding. There's a cosmic master plan. But I promised Mr. Jane to send those pictures of Spider-Man. My landlord wants the money. My phone bill's overdue. My backpack's on a rooftop somewhere around Avenue 2. The Avengers need assistance. Doctor Strange just called again. But I've got an 8 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm late for work at 10. Peter Parker has to go to work. Peter Parker has to pay. You can threaten all existence, but the rent is due on Friday. Peter Parker has to go to work. That's the strangest superpower yet. He can lift a city bus, but he cannot lift his credit score. Twip, save the city. Twip, catch the train. Twip, sell the pictures. Twip, miss the rent again. Every other hero gathered in a fortress in the sky. They had satellites and butlers. I had half a piece of pie. Someone said, prepare the jet. I said, do we get reimbursed? Thor descended dressed like thunder. I arrived in Converse first. Someone handed me a briefing, universal threat level 9. I said, great! Before we start this, does anybody validate parking? They stared. I said, I took the subway. Tony slowly shook his head. I said, some of us have landlords starved. Then remembered, oh, right. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe Queens won't let me float. hard to think that you're a demigod when your bank account says no. Hard to lecture all humanity from your metaphysical throne. When Aunt May just sent a message, Peter, please pick up the phone. Peter Parker has to go to work. Peter Parker has a shift. Saving Earth is really noble, but it doesn't buy the gift. Peter Parker has to go to work. He's got groceries to afford. Hard to become an untouchable god when you can't pay your electric bill. Twip, stop the robber. Twip, save the cat. Twip, boss is calling. Parker, where the hell are you at? Parker! Mr. Jameson, you're late. There was an alien invasion. Excuses. You can see the spaceship from your window. I see a city where Spider-Man is still a menace. I saved the city, and where are my photographs? I hate this job. What? Nothing, sir. Maybe heroes get in trouble when they float too far above. When everybody calls.
All right, I think I fixed it now. I think I fixed it. Okay. All right. Let's see. These democratic socialists like Zoran Mandani, for example, are totally hive-minded. They're totally hive-minded, and hive-minded people can't actually think, you know what I mean? Which makes sense. I mean, how are you supposed to think when your mind is completely occupied housing bees, you know, because they're hive-minded? I mean, they're like, sorry, no vacancy for local thought, brains full. I'd love to have an original thought, but occupancy is at capacity. Personally, I don't think renting out your brain space to bees is the best business model. You know, you could probably make more money like leasing it to like an AI data center or something, I would think. But whatever. Apparently, these bees had nowhere else to live. They put in rent control, got it so they had to put it in people's heads, right? What you have to rent your head out to the bees. You have to. Where else are they gonna live? Who are you to say they can't be there? I mean, I asked one guy, why are the bees living in your brain, man? And he said it's affordable housing. It was like, oh, that's gonna be great. Couldn't you just kick them out? He goes, no, they formed a tenants union. And now every decision has to go through the collective bargaining. His frontal lobe has like a waiting list at this point. It's ridiculous. The queen bee is somehow the only one with private property, you know? I don't know. It doesn't seem very, very democratic or, you know, equally distributed. That's what I say. I mean, the democratic socialists remind me of that old expression, when the crap hits the fan, but they're like the crap being the democratic socialist communists, and they're trying to beat up the fan. They're trying to start a fight with the fan. Except this fan isn't some little ceiling fan. This is the American capitalist engine. An industrial-sized American capitalism fan. A giant SpaceX fan, man. The crap's gonna pick a fight with it. And here's this little democratic socialist communist piece of crap thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick a fight with that. I'll just walk up to it, and then like the police will then stop it after I hit it in the face or something, and everything will work out good. It's like, personally, my money's on the fan. That fan's undefeated at this point. History's been they've been betting on the fan for a long. I mean, and then the crap acts like it was attacked, as if the fan attacked the crap. It's like the piece of crap communist threw the first punch at the fan. It's called the crap hit the fan. The crap hit the fan, not the other way around. Self-defense. The fan hits back, crap, what are you gonna do? It's gone. So the fan was just sitting there, being a fan. You launched yourself into it, piece of crap. That's self-defense. If anything, the fans deserves an apology at this point. I think we all deserve an apology at this point. It's ridiculous. Anyways, let's turn the audio on and see. Piece of crap starts a fight with the fan and then acts the fan like the fan's Islamophobe or something. No, you're the one that hit the fan. You're the one that hit the frickin' fan. And then the fan was just sitting there. The fan could hit back. Okay? That's fans got the right to do that. It's America. Let's see. I'll turn on the see what we have here.
These democratic socialists, for example, are totally hive-minded people.
We are the hive. We are the hive.
And hive-minded people can't actually think. The hive decides.
The hive decides.
All together now.
All together now. The hive. The hive.
These Democrats, which makes sense. I mean, how are you supposed to think when your mind is completely occupied housing bees? Look at them buzzing around, moving furniture, arguing over rent. No wonder I can't focus with all this chaos in my head. I need to evict these bees. They're like, sorry, no vacancy for logical thought. Brain's full. I'd love to have an original thought, but occupancy's at capacity. Come on, I just need one good idea. No can do, we're fully booked. This is ridiculous, let me in. Rules are rules, try again tomorrow. They're like, personally, I don't think renting out brain space to bees is the best business model. But whatever. Apparently the bees had nowhere else to live. Rent control got so bad they had to move. I asked one guy, why are there bees living in your brain? He said, affordable housing. Affordable housing? In your brain? Exactly. These bees need a place to live. It's a crisis. Wow, I get it now. Couldn't you just kick them out? No, they formed a tenants union. A tenants union? Now every decision has to go through collective bargaining. His frontal lobe has a waiting list. A waiting list? That's insane. Welcome to the hive mind. The queen bee is somehow the only one with private property. What? How is that fair? Look, the workers have nothing. The democratic socialists remind me of that old expression, when the crap hits the fan. Well, bring it on, fan! Except this fan isn't some little ceiling fan. This is the American capitalist engine, an industrial-sized American capitalism fan, a giant SpaceX fan. Built big, built bold, built to move the future. This capitalist engine is out of control. No. Yeah, I'm gonna pick a fight with that. Yeah, I'm gonna pick a fight with that. And here's this little Democrat, socialist, communist piece of crap thinking, yeah, I'm gonna pick a fight with that! Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's main event. Personally, my money's on the fan. The fan's undefeated. Free stuff for everyone. And the challenger swings, but the fan is spinning up. You'll pay for this. The fan's power is limitless. The challenger is down. Ladies and gentlemen, history's been betting on the fan for a long time, and then the crap acts like it was attacked. No, the piece of communist crap threw the first punch at the fan. It wasn't attacked, never lost. The crap started it. Books don't lie. First punch. Clear case. Fan first. Crap started it. History's been... It's called the crap hits the fan, not the fan hits the crap. SMH. Good grief. See? The fan is spinning, proving my point. It's right there. Even I know. Oh, for crap's sake, we've been over this. Exactly. The fan was just sitting there, being a fan. You launched yourself into it. No! What is he doing? Equality, free stuff, down with capitalism. He launched first. The facts don't lie. Suicide. He chose violence. Not like this. Clear as day. He launched. The fan didn't move. The fan was just sitting. That's self-defense. If anything, the fan deserves an apology. What? I was wrong. I'm sorry. Apology accepted. The fan is not guilty. Yeah, logic wins. Sorry, fan. You were just being a fan. Justice prevails. Court dismissed. That's self.
Piece of crack tried to hit the fan. And starts getting pissed because the fan hit back. What are you gonna... Whatever. Alright. Look at those images are great. Alright. I think I'm just gonna noodle around today. My back feels better, so I'll just... there.